So today we are going to start this chapter 4 of the book, that is known as linear models for classification. If you remember, so far we have been discussing linear models for regression, right? So we have done a lot of analysis there, and the analysis was very easy and we had analytical solutions, right? So that was the advantage of linear models. Here we are taking linear models for classification. And if you remember, there we had all those likelihood estimations with regularization, and then we derived it using Bayesian approach. And finally, we found out what are the predictive distributions. So all these steps we will going to do this on this chapter also, or on this technique also for classification. What we have done on regression, right? So if you remember in this regression problem, why they were called as linear? Can anybody tell me? Why we said that the linear models for regression? What was linear there?
The
Power of
bit
parameter.
Sorry?
parameter vector was linear.
Yeah, very good. So parameters were linear in what? So the parameters were linear in that functional form. So there you were allowed to take your x as like nonlinear using basis functions. The same thing apply here as well. Uh, the but the bit contrast here is like we will introduce non-linearity and just to get a posterior probability, and I will going to get a decision surfaces that are linear in terms of my input variable x, right? So I hope that you know what are hyperplanes, though I will going to cover it in detail without doing any assumption about you have in your linear algebra. So this is here we got linear model for classification. So the before diving into all the nitty gritty details of mathematics, the whole idea is that you are going to get some classes in a data set which are labeled, right? So which are labeled like this. So they will have some labels. For an example, just to discriminate the different labels, I am taking it as a cross and dots, right? So now if this is a two-dimensional data, let's say this is here, I have a height and on this axis I have a weight, and I want to find it out like for all those students, uh, for a given student, whether he belongs to a cross class or a dot class, right? So then what you need to do, you need to find out a line which can separate this classes such that there are no errors, right? So this is a whole idea to find out a hyperplane. So in 2 dimension, it is a line. But if I am in a 3 dimension plane, right? If I am in a 3 dimension space, and here I have some dots hanging inside my room, and towards the ceiling, I have crosses, right? Towards the ceiling, I have crosses in the room. So what I need to find out a high plane. I need to find out a plane kind of a structure which just crosses through your room such that above the plane there are one class and below the plane there is a second class, right, in 3 dimension. Or if you generalize it for multi-dimension or n-dimension or d-dimensional data space, then you say that I will have a hyperplane of d1 minus d minus 1 dimension, right? So the whole idea is to find out this hyperplane so that it can divide a space such that in one region you will have one class and in the other region you have the other class, right, with minimal errors. So for simplicity we assume that the data set is linearly separable, right? So I assume that we can always find a line. So for an example, if this is a case, right, can you find out a line for to separate these dots with cross? No, you can't find it out here. So this is a case of linearly separable data set, right? Non-linearly separable. I'm in a class. I will call you later. I'm in a class. So here, this is a case of nonlinear separable data, and this is a case of where the data is linearly separable, right? So there are two things. So we assume for our initial discussion, the data is linearly separable, and for that linearly separable data, we are going to find out a hyperplane, right? That is clear. The objective should be clear to you, right? So you can respond me yes or no, so that way I can just have an interaction with you and just go. So this is like what my goal is. So I want to find out a hyperplane for the linearly separable data. That's it. Very good. Fine. So let's dive into this. So the goal is that I can have more than two classes, right? If I have more than two classes, then for a given vector x, I want to classify among k different classes which are discrete. And I am saying that let's say C1, C2, C3, C4 till Ck are the classes. And this x belongs to one of them. Just to simplify this abstraction, I can say that I have a class like uh, buffalo, elephant, and there are separate different 10 categories of animals are there. For a given photo, you want to find it out whether in a given image there is a which class is available, whether it is a buffalo or elephant, lion, tiger, cheetah, whatever it is, right? So for a given image, you want to classify among different 10 classes, and they are disjoint, right? So they with the other assumption is for convenience, it is disjoint. Though there will be cases when the classes are not disjoint, we will see it, right? So, but here we say that the classes are disjoint, and if the classes are disjoint, we can always find out a decision boundaries such that it's shown in here in red, so that it can separate the given space, right? It is my whole space, given space into different regions, right? So the RJ region is for class CJ, this is for CI, and this for is CK. So if there are three classes IJK, so there are three different regions which are divided by decision boundaries, right? So the problem lies here is that you want to find out these decision boundaries, which are nothing but a hyperplane. And hyperplane, you can, in linear algebra terms, you can define hyperplane as W transpose X, right? Plus B, right? So I will try to give you the intuition of it first, this hyperplane, and then we will dive into the linear models for classification. Okay. So the decision boundaries, decision surface are linear function of input variable X. Then only you can say that you are defining a hyperplane, because if I say W transpose X, right? So X is nothing but it is a linear function of the parameter, right? It's a linear function of a parameter. That's why I write it W transpose X. If I do that, then I'm defining D minus one dimension hyperplane, right? So my decisions boundaries are nothing but they are hyperplanes of D minus one dimension less than to the dimension where we are operating or where I have a data, right? So for probabilistic models, it is convenient to represent my target variable as 0, 1 for binary classification, right? So if you say that I have two classes, dog and cat. So, but you want to do something in computer, right? So you can't write that in this image there is a DOG dog and the other image is CAT cat. So what you can do just for your convenient method, computational convenience, you represent one class as 0, but because it is just a representation, rather than saying 3-character DOG dog, you just replace it with one number 1, right? So you say the two classes, which is dog and cat, can be represented by 1 and 0, right? This is a convenient form for probabilistic modeling. And if your classes are greater than 2, then what you are doing, you are saying you are taking one hot vector encoding in general, or one of the k coding. What it says, let's say you have 10 classes, dog, buffalo, cheetah, and whatever. So in 10 classes for a given image, let's say there is an elephant. So you ordered these classes. So always, so you just form a vector for 10 classes. So the vector size is 10 by 1, right? So vector size will be 10 by 1. And you ordered these classes. So let's say every time first elephant will come. So first place in this vector is a representation for elephant, then cow, goat, right? Lion, tiger, whatever. So if an image come and which consists an elephant, right? Which consists an elephant. So you label this image as a vector which contains 1 and all 9 zeros, right? All 9 zeros. If a image contains a cat, right? So you just represent it as a vector of 10 by 1, where the corresponding place of cat, which is nothing but the second place, you put it 1, and the rest will be all zeros, right? Rest all will be zeros. So this is how you can represent it by one of the k coding scheme, right? So it is like T is a vector of length k such that if the class is Cj, then all the elements Tk of T are 0 except element Tj, which takes the value 1, right? The same thing I have explained it here. So this is all just how to write it. Fine. Okay.
Yes.
So today I will go slow just to give you the intuition of like hyperplanes. And once we understand it, then from the later lectures, like for the next lectures onwards, I will be assuming that you are good at your understanding all these things. So I will be going very slow in this lecture. You just stop me if you are having any difficulty in understanding hyperplanes. So it is just more of a revision for those from your linear algebra classes, right? So let's say how to define a hyperplane. First, I want to give you the idea of a projection, right? So I am just talking about an orthogonal projection. So let's say I am in two-dimensional plane. I have a vector x, right? This is my vector x. I want to take a projection of this x on some vector y, right? Some vector y. So what you can do, you just throw a light orthogonally, vertically, and wherever the shadow will fall, right? Wherever the shadow will fall, till that point, you say that the projection is from here to here, right? So this is your projection of x on y. So this is your projection, right? Intuitively, this is a projection meaning. How you can define it? You can define it by a dot product, right? So it is x transpose y, x transpose y, if y is a unit vector, right? So y can be of vector 2, 2, right? So y, let's say y is 2, 2. Y is 2, 2, which is not a unit vector, right? And you want to find out a projection of x on y. Let's say x is 3, 5, 3 or 3, 5. Let's say x is 3, 5. You want to find out a projection of x on y, right? But y was not a unit vector. So it is a scaled version of a projection. But if y is a unit vector, then you can take a dot product. Let's say y was, so just to convert a y into a unit vector, what I can do, I just take a square and divide it. I take 2 square plus 2 square, 4, 4, 8. So it is a square root of 8. So I divide every unit by square root of 8. Right? So norm of I am dividing by just norm of the vector, right? So the norm of the vector is 8. So here, that's how I'm converting my vector y into a unit vector by dividing the norm of a vector, right? If y is this, and I just take a dot product of x on y, then this is my orthogonal projection. So right now it is 3 multiply 2 square root 8, right, plus 5 into 2 square root 8, right? So this is for a given y. If this is the case, then for a y which is nothing but 2 square root 8, 2 square root 8, this is your projection. It means this is a shadow of x on y. But if y is given as 2, 2, so then also you can take a dot product. Then what you do, 3 into 2, right? 3 into 2 plus 5 into 2. But here y is not unit vector, right? So it is a shadow but scaled version, right? So it is a shadow but a scaled version. Somewhere this shadow is going long, elongated. So you need to normalize this shadow. And how you can normalize it? You just divide it by the norm of the vector, right? You just divide it by the norm of the vector. And if you divide this by the norm of the vector, somewhere you are saying indirectly that this is how you can rewrite it, and it is nothing but you are taking a dot product with a unit vector, right? So if the vector on which you are taking a projection is not unit vector, then you need to normalize it to get an absolute projection, right? And if it is a unit vector, then you can directly take a dot product and it will give you directly the right projection, not the scaled projection. Any question on this? Is it clear? Yes or no? Very good. Very nice. So if it is clear, very good. Cool. So this is how, so I start with this assumption that you know what is the projection. If, and you are good at it now, if you are projecting on a vector which is not a unit vector, you just normalize it first and then take a dot product. That's straight. Fine. Okay. Equipped with this knowledge, I'm going to define you a hyperplane. So now what I'm saying, that I have a unit vector W, right? This is a unit vector W, right? I take all those x vectors. It is a set of vector x. So it is a set of vector x. So there can be millions of vectors, right? So there is a set of vector x such that the projection of x on W, such that the projection of x on W, and I said that W is a unit vector, is equal to some constant d or some constant W0, right? Let's say is equal to some constant W0, right? It means I am talking about some projection, absolute projection, which is W0. So because I am talking about those projection on W, right? So it will be somewhere like, let's say it comes till here. So this is the length of W0 from origin, right? So it is the length of W0. So I am talking all those vector x. So let's say one of the vector of x will be this one. When you project this vector x on W, the shadow will fall where? The shadow will fall somewhere here, till here, right? This is the shadow. You take some another vector. This another vector will be this one, right? The shadow will again fall on W0. You take some another vector x, right? The shadow of orthogonal projection will again fall till W0. And likewise, you take all those, I am saying take the set of all those vectors x whose projection on W is equal to W0, right? So can anybody tell me what this set will tell me? How, what if I just joined all those vectors which is represented as a dot, what finally I will get, right?
A plane.
Plane.
A plane, right? It's a line here. So let's say, just to change the color, so I have infinite points, right? So this is point 1, this is point, or this is point to a second corresponding to another x, and there are millions of x whose projection is equal to w0, right? Once I join these points, I will get a line, right? In 2 dimension, right? If it is in 3 dimension, right? So I will again take some w vector from the origin. I take all those vectors x whose projection is w0. So you just have to go all around in 3 dimension to find out a projection which is still w0, right? So is this clear to you guys? Yes or no? Can you type it quickly?
Sir, in 3 dimensions, it would form a plane. All the
Right,
vectors. Okay.
right. So the equipped with this knowledge, and I'm very much sure that if you retain this knowledge, half of your machine algorithm intuition will get to you like on the click of your finger, right? So this intuition you keep always in your head about these dot products and hyperplane. So hyperplane will always help you to visualize the things better. And this is how you can think in your head. You form a picture in your head, right? So before proceeding, if you have any question, please let me know. Otherwise, I will go to the next concept. Fine. If you have no questions, now everything is like clear. Everything on the image is making sense to you. Start making sense to you now. So let's assume my W is not a unit vector, right? If my W is not a unit vector, then what I need to do, first I convert this W into a unit vector. It's the simplest thing I can do. So I need to divide it by the norm of a W, right? Just to normalize it and make it a unit vector, right? And then just whatever I do, then I take all those x when it multiplied to the some vector or this unit vector, it will give me some constant c, right? Then it will give start giving you a sense. So here, let's say you start with some function yx, right? So yx, you can write it like this. W transpose x plus W0, right? So W0, sorry, it's a subscript, right? So W0 is a subscript. So this is my hyperplane, let's say. And what it gives me, this hyperplane equation, it will satisfy this thing equal to 0, right? So it's just a negation of a W0. So W0 is just a notation, right? So it is nothing but, as I said, W transpose, you bring this C, this side, it will be minus C. Then rather than saying minus C, you can rewrite it as a plus C, where C itself is a negative. So it's just a presentation. You are bringing it the hyperplane equation, and you bringing constant on the right hand side, and on the left hand side you will get a 0. So in standard form, you can write it the X transpose W plus C equals to 0, right? If W is not a scaled version, then I need to normalize this. And when I normalize this, I need to divide it by the norm of W. Can anybody tell me now what is my distance of a hyperplane from the origin? So this is a hyperplane yx. I am interested in knowing how far my hyperplane is from the origin.
W naught.
W naught. You remember W naught is a scaled version. If it is not normalized, my W is not normalized, then W naught is a scaled version, right? I need to normalize it. So just to normalize it, I have to divide my yx, or I need to divide my W transpose x W0 with, oops. So this is W transpose x plus W0. Here my W is not normalized, but I am interested in knowing, very good. So Shubham Shriram has written the answer. But I am interested in knowing how far my distance of hyperplane is from the origin, right? So I told you that the equation for the unit vector W transpose x equals to C for some constant. Just to bring to a standard notation, what you are doing, W transpose x minus C equals to 0, right? But if your W is not a unit vector, then what you need to divide it? You need to divide it by the norm of W, right? Norm of W, and the orthogonal distance will be W transpose x upon norm of W, which is nothing but a unit vector, right? Into x equals to C upon norm of W, right? C upon norm of W. As per this equation, this is my perpendicular distance. It is C of norm W. For this equation, what I can do, I can put my equation to the of hyperplane equals to 0. If it is not normalized, I need to divide it by the norm of W, right? When I divide it by norm of W, and then I just take the projection, which is nothing but W upon norm of W, unit vector, right? It's a unit vector. You just take the projection with respect to all x, which is equal to minus W0 upon norm of W, right? Is this derivation clear to you? Yes or no? Good. Very good. So here, this is what it's shown in here in this images. This is W not divided by norm of W negative. You understand why negative is there, right? Because in my ideal representation of equation of hyperplane, I have taken this constant as a positive as a positive. But when I defined here, it was a negative, right? So it is just a change in notation. No big deals, right? Don't get confused. So when you just find it out, it's an orthogonal distance of a hyperplane from the origin, which you can just find it by like putting it into this formula, right? Second thing, second thing is, you may be interested in knowing how far your x is from the hyperplane, right? What is the perpendicular distance? What is the perpendicular distance from your hyperplane, right? So this is nothing but W transpose, sorry. So you have the equation of a hyperplane was W transpose x plus W0, which is nothing but I have said that the equation of a hyperplane you are representing by y of x, right? So you're representing it by y of x. So you are interested, if your x falls on a hyperplane, then this equation will be equal to what? Can anybody tell me? If your point falls on a hyperplane, then this equation will equate to what number?
0.
0.
0. Very good. Very good. It means if the projection is positive, then what set of x you are talking about? If your projection is positive, then what set of x you are talking about?
Lies beyond the hyperplane.
Exactly. Exactly. So it means all those x, when you take a projection on W, so they should come above this W0 point, right? Then when you subtract it, you will get a positive number. Similarly, if you get a negative number, it means you are talking all those x which are falling below to the hyperplane. Any questions on this? Yes or no? Can you please quickly write yes or no? For no questions you can write. Okay. Very good. I want everybody should respond. If you have any problem, you should. Yeah, very good. Okay. So now I am very clear that if y is less than 0 and y is what? It is W transpose x plus W0. You need to feed x into this equation. If x is on hyperplane, you get 0. If x is below hyperplane, you get negative. And if x is greater than like the projection is greater over the hyperplane, you get positive. So all these three notations are making sense to you now, right? Finally, I am interested in what is my orthogonal distance. So I am interested in deriving this, right? Okay. So what I can do, I just say that this x. So let's say this x is a sum of this vector x orthogonal. X orthogonal is nothing but a point projection of x on a hyperplane. Projection of this x on a hyperplane, right? So this is x orthogonal. So this is one vector. The other vector is this vector, which I say is, let's say, I say it as like r vector, right? So if I add x orthogonal plus r vector as by sum of this sum of two this is one vector, this is other vector, the sum of two vectors will be equal to this blue line vector, right? Which is nothing but a x vector, right? It's a x vector. I multiply both sides with W transpose, then what I get? I will get W transpose x orthogonal, right? Plus W transpose R equals to W transpose X, right? So just for simplicity, assume that W transpose is nothing but it's a unit vector. Then what will this equate to? 0, right? Because it is on a hyperplane. No. So you add W0 also on both sides. You add W0 on both sides. And you remember the equation of a hyperplane was W transpose X plus W naught. And if a point falls on a hyperplane, it will equate to 0, right? So if X orthogonal is on the hyperplane, as I showed you, so it means this equate to 0. So this term will go away and you will left with this equation now, right? Right. If it is a unit vector, that's fine. If it is not a unit vector, you just normalize it, right? To find out the absolute vertical distance, and you just do like this. What this term will give you? It will give you the absolute projection of X on unit vector W, which comes somewhere here, right? Which comes somewhere here. It's absolute projection, right? And this is equal to the R dot product of R, which is nothing but projection, and this is equal to this, right? So in short, it is W transpose X. So if somebody asks you what is the orthogonal distance, then you just do what? You just feed X into a equation and normalize it. It will give you the orthogonal distance of that point from the hyperplane. Simple. If you don't get too confused, you just put a equation, put a X in a hyperplane equation, which is nothing but W transpose X W0. You feed that X into this equation and normalize it. It will always give you the orthogonal distance of a point X from the hyperplane. And it is a signed distance. If it is above the hyperplane, then it will give you a positive distance. And if it is below the hyperplane, it will give you the negative distance. So in short, if you are interested in knowing how far you are from the hyperplane, you just feed your X into the equation of a hyperplane and normalize it. You will get the absolute distance from the hyperplane. Fine. Now all things are clear. And I will be using these equations again and again for support vector machine, for my logistic regression, right? And this concept will be needing again and again, right? So if you have any questions still here, please let me know. Right. So if you do have no questions, now let's dive into that. So we were discussing about linear models for classification. We have so far understood what are hyperplanes and what are the geometry they can give to us in terms of like a perpendicular distance of a point. So there are problems like multi-class classification problem. For two-class classification problem, it is understood, right? Can anybody tell me how it is understood? If you got a hyperplane equation, then you just find it out. If it is positive, then it belongs to class 1, and if it is negative, then it belongs to class 0, right? So let's say you were provided by some data set, and some of your friend who was genius who gives you a hyperplane equation. Then this hyperplane equation is nothing but W transpose X plus W0. He somehow magically found out this equation. And in this equation, what are the things you need to know? Can anybody tell me? What are the parameters for this equation?
W transpose and W0.
Very good. So there are two things which you need to know, like W transpose and W0. The moment you need to know, you get to know what is W transpose and W naught, you understand two things. Can anybody tell me what is W naught telling me?
The distance of the hyperplane multiplied by the norm of W.
Right. It means it's whether it's a scaled distance or a normalized distance, but it is a distance of a hyperplane from the origin. Can anybody tell me what is W transpose is telling me, or W is telling me? Don't take transpose. What is W telling me? I will really appreciate this fact if somebody give me the intuition. What is W is telling me now? What do you think? What W is telling me? Right? Intuitively, it should make some sense. It should not be a number of vectors, right? So if W naught is making sense, that it is no, it is not a set of projection. Set of a projection. No, W naught is not a set of projection. W transpose X is a set of projection, right? Don't forget it. Which is
So it is saying like what all features affect by how much margin? Like
no, not that wrong answer. W can, what is W telling me? Okay. Vector from the origin? No.
Weight of the features?
No. W cannot be weight of the features, right? W will tell you the orientation of a hyperplane. If this is your hyperplane, then W is this. If you change your W, let's say this is your W, then hyperplane is this. It is always orthogonal to the hyperplane. Just to prove it, let's prove it, right? So I say there are 2 points, XA and XB. So there is XA and XB on a hyperplane. Then because both are on hyperplane, they satisfy to the equation 0. It means W transpose XA plus W naught, right? Plus W naught plus W transpose XB plus W naught. What they should sum up to?
0.
0, right? So if they are equal to 0, then what I can do, I can put both are equal to W transpose XA plus W transpose XB equal to 0. So I can equate them here, right? I can equate them here. Then I cancel this W transpose with this W transpose. Then what I do, I take W transpose XA and move this W transpose XB on the other side, right? So it is W transpose XB on the other side, and it will equal to 0. So it is XB, it is XA. Then I take a common W transpose X, right? So W transpose X, W transpose common, and I will left with XA minus XB. Can anybody tell me what is XA minus XB in terms of a vector? Quickly, I'm short of a time. In linear algebra terms, what is XA, XB, XA minus? No, it's a plane vector. Very good, Akash Tiwari. So it is any vector on a plane, right? So XA minus XB is this vector. And what if I say that this vector is having a dot product with W transpose is equal to 0? What does this mean?
W transpose is perpendicular to this vector.
Very good. So it means W transpose is perpendicular to this vector. And this is true for any point, any 2 points on a hyperplane, right? XA, XB can be an arbitrary 2 points on a hyperplane. It means I am saying any vector on a hyperplane. Any vector on a hyperplane is nothing but it's orthogonal to W vector, right? So hence W will always be orthogonal to my hyperplane. So if this is W, then this is my hyperplane, and if that is W, this is my hyperplane, right? This is how it goes to. You got it? Yes or no? Very nice. So you always remember there are two things. W will give you the orientation of a hyperplane, and W naught will give you the distance from origin from the hyperplane. Very nice. So I want to close the lecture today, and I will continue it on Monday, right? So I will post for tomorrow's session, like what is the lab for tomorrow. Thank you.